investigators that she simply had a change of heart, possibly because one of the killers she's driving away actually dismembered his last victim. So that could have been a factor in her reasoning.
Correspondent Deborah Farrick reports instead of driving a getaway car, Mitchell checked into a hospital with a panic attack. As for the escapees now,
they're not trained in wilderness survival. We are told that they hate the outdoors.
And the weather has been awful. Well, Americans spent more on cars, clothes, and building materials last month, and employers have added more than 3 million jobs over the past year. Right now, the Dow is at 18,055. That's 55 points higher just 1 hour before the close. I'm Evan Haining.
Ford is taking the EcoBoost Challenge all across America, inviting everyone to test drive America's best-selling brand. And people everywhere are discovering that EcoBoost technology delivers impressive power and performance.
Oh, wow. Ford has really stepped up.
I definitely feel the EcoBoost in the Ford Escape.
Are you sure the Fusion's not a sports car?
This F-150's got some guts to it.
So come get behind the wheel and experience the new Ford lineup for yourself.
I'm young, so I kind of do want a cool-looking car, and this is it.
Really smooth, powerful, and sporty.
Ford cars, trucks, SUVs, and crossovers. Great styling, innovative features, and EcoBoost technology. It's all here.
Awesome. I prefer, without a doubt, the Escape over the CR-V.
Fusion is rocking it, man.
My opinion of Ford has dramatically changed.
This is the future, and this is Ford, and they are way ahead of the game.
Hurry to your local Ford dealer for the EcoBoost Challenge sales event going on now. Best-selling based on 2014 calendar year sales.
We supply the words. You paint the picture. AM 1050, KCAA.
And good afternoon. It's 12:02. I'm Di Rice with the latest in live local news, heard only here on KCAA 1050 AM. On Monday, officers arrested Brian Heredia, 39, for a child molestation incident that occurred in 2007. At the time of the molestation, the victim was under the age of 14 and attended Kcaa Middle School in Rialto. On February 14, 2007, the school security guard, Heredia, took the victim to a Motel 6 in Fontana where they had intercourse. The female victim was recently reported the incident to the Fontana Police Department. The investigation led to his arrest, and it is unknown at this time if there are any other victims from the school. And detectives have arrested yet another suspect involved in the long-term sexual abuse of a minor. The suspect, Reynaldo Hernandez Navarez, 23 of Ontario, was arrested in the 4000 block of East Francis Street and was taken into custody without incident. Hernandez was a family friend to the victim. He met the victim while volunteering at Iglesia Fuente de Vida Church in Ontario. Hernandez began the sexual molestation when the victim was only 9 years of age and continued the abuse for 4 years. He is no longer associated with the church, but is believed to be volunteering at an unknown church in the Pomona area. The suspect also teaches private music lessons to students that he meets at local churches. Hernandez has been booked at West Valley Detention Center. And Redlands is booming. A pair of warehouse construction projects are transforming the view of Redlands from Interstate 10. Construction of the Redlands Commerce Center, a 1.1 million square foot industrial development to serve the warehousing and logistics industry, has begun on a 51-acre swath of land between the westbound lanes of the freeway and Ligonia Avenue. Across Ligonia, walls are rising on yet another 1.1 million square foot industrial warehouse being built by McShane Construction Company. Then Hillwood is also developing a 770,000 square foot building north of Ligonia and east of California, according to John Magnus, Senior Vice President of Hillwood Investment Properties. Inland Empire weather, cloudy once again today, more of the same tomorrow. Today's highs 83, overnight 63. Currently we are at 74 here in San Bernardino. Looking at your drive, you still have that block lanes in on Highway 38, both the eastbound and westbound, just before Jinx Lake Road. And let's see, what else do we have going on? Stop and go traffic through Chino on the 60 westbound between Ramona and Highway 71. In the Cajon Pass, an accident is blocking a lane on the 15 northbound as you approach 138. And that is the right lane that is blocked in that area. So otherwise not looking too bad out there. That is the very latest with news, weather, and traffic on the station that leaves no listener behind. KCAA 1050 AM. This report has been brought to you by Unbound. Child sponsorship the way it's supposed to be. Real kids, real results. Real easy for you to help. Join the fight against global poverty at unbound.org.
In a world of boring talk, misinformation, and mindless chatter, two superheroes emerge.
Okay, that sounded manly.
No, you gotta be kidding me.
Let's go!
The action.
Fridays just got fabulous! Here on KCAA, get ready to pour yourself your favorite beverage and kick it with Ben and Alexander right here on the Happy Hour. Every Friday evening at 6 on KCAA 1050.
Determination. You can be intentional about your character, your work ethic.
You've got to be on the same page.
Today we're calling to let you know we are debt-free, house and everything.
You have done really, really, really good. And you're not going to quit now.
It's been a huge witness for us to be able to share that.
It was time to get serious.
Intentionality, people.
Celebrate the success.
Oh my goodness, thank you so much.
This is your show, America.
If I knew at 22 what I know now, our life would be better off.
It's the show that's changing the world. Now you don't just listen to the show, you live. Live from the headquarters of Ramsey Solutions, it's the Dave Ramsey Show, where debt is dumb, cash is king, and the paid-off home mortgage has taken the place of the BMW as the status symbol of choice. I'm Dave Ramsey, your host. This is your show, America. Thank you for joining us. Open phones at 888-825-5225. Micah starts off this hour in Jackson, Tennessee. Hey, Micah, how are you?
I'm doing great. How are you doing, Dave?
Better than I deserve, sir. How can I help?
I got an investment question. I just started a hardwood flooring business, and it's actually my old boss was wanting me to, was wondering if I wanted to have an investor back me up to help start my business, and we were going to write up kind of a financial plan or whatever, like how much he would receive. Like he would basically put up the liquid capital for my business startup.
Are you not already started up?
Well, I've got my business started, but I'm talking about like there's like a lot of small tools and stuff that I would need to like get for the business, like to do like more, like to build the business up more.
Okay. No, I would not take in a partner.
Okay.
Here's what I would do. Work my butt off and use your profits, some of them to live on, and some of them to reinvest into your business and grow your own business. Grow it slower and own the whole thing.
Okay.
Just take your time. You've got enough. You got enough tools to do jobs now, don't you?
Well, partly. I mean, there's some big things like I was. One of my things that I was going to do is like do some sanding and refinishing for floors, and that was that was the biggest thing. That was going to cost me like $20,000 or so to get the tools for that.
But before he called you up, you were just going to lay hardwoods, weren't you?
Yeah.
And then you were going to build up some profit and buy some tools, and build up some profit and buy some tools. So I would tell you that this year you're not in the refinishing business. This year you're in the hardwood business. And next year, if you make a bunch of money by laying floors, next year you might get in the refinishing business.
Okay.
But you're right. That's very expensive equipment. I just had some hardwoods done at my house, and the guys did a great job. And they had the 98% dust free. And it really was, because I've been in building business, and man, that dust boils if you don't have that stuff. So it's real. But I'm just going to tell you, you're much better off to not have other people telling you what to do.
Okay.
And especially your old boss.
Yeah. Well, he goes to my church, and I'm a really good friend of his. So.
Yeah, but you're better off not even telling you what to do then.
Yeah. Okay.
People get real bossy when their money's in your deal.
Yeah. Okay.
Take your time, grow slow, and plow money back into tools and plow money back into tools. It might be that your first set of sanders and so forth are used when you buy them.
Mm-hmm.
And you buy them from somebody who didn't take their time and had a partner they had to get rid of.
Okay.
Because their deal went bad. The only ship that won't sail, sir, is a partnership.
Yes, sir.
So I'm just telling you, I've been doing this stuff a long time, and if you were my son or my little brother and you asked me this question, this is exactly what I would tell you. You're better off owning 100% of a smaller thing than you are half of a larger thing.
Okay.
Take your time.
Even if, like, we would, like, set up stocks or something?
Look, if you want to do this, Micah, you go ahead and do it. I told you what I thought. There's not a way to set it up. It's not a math problem, and it's not a legal problem. It's a spirit problem. You got too many cooks in the dadgum kitchen, and that's what I'm trying to tell you. So just be brave. Square your shoulders. Be a business owner, sir. You're going to make some mistakes. You're going to learn. You're going to grow. You're going to make some more mistakes. You're going to learn, and you're going to grow. You don't need people whispering in your ear the whole time because they put a little money in your back pocket. And so, he you know why he wants to invest? Because he thinks you're going to make it. I think you're going to make it. I don't think you need him to make it. That's what I think. Hold on. I'm going to send you a copy of our book, Entree Leadership, which is our book on how we grew this business from a card table in my living room to where it is today. And by the way, we never had an investor. Started with nothing, broke, little bit at a time, used equipment, borrowed stuff, borrowed equipment, rented stuff, and just scratched and clawed, and here 25 years later, we're an overnight success. Scott's in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Hey, Scott, how are you?
Good today. Dave, how about you?
Better than I deserve, sir. What's up?
Well, I've been a long-time listener, and I managed to get completely out of debt about 4 years ago.
Good for you.
And thank you. And I pulled my credit report about a month or two ago and noticed it hadn't gone down to zero.
Mm-hmm.
And there's no accounts open, but I've had my credit frozen for probably 8-10 years. Would that have something to do with that?
It might. I mean, there's not a set formula. What we've observed is, do you have a mortgage?
No.
Who's reporting on your credit as an active account? When you pulled a copy of the account, what accounts are still showing?
Didn't show any accounts open.
Okay. No activity?
No activity, no.
Okay. And it's been a year?
It's been 4 years since I've been debt-free.
And everything closed?
Right.
Okay. Very strange. I don't know. FICO doesn't give us the formula because they don't want people with zero accounts. Otherwise, They know Dave Ramsey would be telling everybody how to do it, because I would. But what we've observed is, with the ones that we've followed, people that have done this stuff, about 6 months to a year later, you go to an indeterminable credit score. But what's your credit score showing?
It's showing like 5-something. It's getting, bad.
It's bad. Yeah, it's bad, but it's not going away.
Right.
I don't know. They're picking up something. They're picking up something that like an activity on an account somewhere.
Okay.
That's what that's my only guess, because I've never heard of this happening otherwise. So I'm guessing I'd look down that list of accounts that are showing there and look for something that's got some activity and go back and verify with all of them. I'd call every one of them that are still showing there and make sure that they actually do have it closed.
Okay.
Because if they're reporting, let's say you had a MasterCard with Chase, okay, 5 years ago, and you closed it, but they still reported it last month, then it's going to show up. Okay. But they usually, of course, an account that has a zero balance continues to get reported. An account that's closed should not continue to get reported. But I think that's what's happening is one of these accounts is hanging on and continuing to report. It's still open but not being used.
Okay. I'll give that a try, Dave.
That's all I know to tell you, because I mean, again, we don't know for sure, but that's I've not seen one after 4 years that didn't close, that didn't go to zero. It could be the freezing part, but I don't think so. I'm thinking that there's something in there still, kind of like you have a slow drip in there somewhere, like a faucet that's not closed off good somehow. That's the way it feels. I might be wrong though. Thank you for the call. Open phones at 888-825-5225. You jump in. We'll talk about your life and your money. This is the Dave Ramsey Show.
Hey, everybody, it's Dr. Ruth.
just want you to know, you can now see pictures, listen to audios, and see videos of KCAA 1050 AM on Instagram.
This is KCAA.
Specialty Crop News, brought to you today by the Almond Board of California. Find them online at almonds.com. Pollinators like honeybees are vital to almond production, so the almond industry is watching closely developments in pollinator health programs and collaborative efforts by researchers, industry groups, and the government. Christy Heitz is with Project Apis M. She was part of the process in the White House's recently released pollinator report.
About a year ago, there were about 40 of us who were invited to the White House to talk about pollinator problems. And of course, my representation is for honeybees. And I voiced an opinion about some of the things that could certainly help honeybees. And there were others in the room also talking about other pollinators.
And that led to the Pollinator Health Task Force, which worked for several months to construct the federal strategies for pollinators.
The strategy includes 4 basic themes: research, expansion of education and outreach, increasing habitat, pollinator habitat, and developing public-private partnerships to accomplish those goals.
There are also many EPA target goals.
There's a large section about EPA, and they'll accelerate the review and registration of new varroa products for honeybees, which will be very important as that's the number one pest for the honeybee. They'll accelerate the review of neonicotinoids. They'll work on improving the framework for assessing all pesticide risk exposures to honeybees and also on incident reporting.
Heitz says the federal strategies for pollinators is exciting.
We've never seen a commitment to pollinators like this before at this level. So it's very exciting, and we look forward to working with the federal agencies. Project Apis M was mentioned a couple of times, actually, in the federal strategy as a good example of public-private partnerships.
You can find more on pollinator health online at projectapism.org or at almonds.com/growers/pollinators. I'm Sabrina Hill for AgnetWest.com.
If you can't seem to stay ahead of your bills, then this message is for you. How would you like to have a large portion of your credit card debt, medical bills, and department store debt forgiven? National Credit Card Relief would like to give you free information on a proven debt forgiveness program. This program has been used by thousands to legally forgive millions in unsecured debt. It's not bankruptcy. It's not consolidation. This special program actually wipes clean the portion of your debt that is forgiven from what you owe your creditors. Call for free information and get all your questions answered in the first free call. The more you owe, the more you can save. If you have at least $10,000 or more in credit card bills, this debt forgiveness program can be very effective. Call for free information and find out more now. 800-546-2909. There is no cost or obligation for the information. Don't wait. Call 800-546-2909. That's 800-546-2909. Get your debt problem solved. Call 800-546-2909 today.
KCAA Radio, AM 1050. Hey, tell a friend. AM 1050.
Miss one of your favorite shows? Don't worry, we've got your radio DVR right here on KCAAradio.com. Log on and listen to any show you want, anytime you want, on KCAA 1050 AM.
With me now, Chris Brown, one of our Ramsey Solutions personalities, has just launched a Christian radio program called Chris Brown's True Stewardship, talking every day for 30 minutes about what the Bible has to say about money and taking your calls from all across America. If you want to join Chris, and you should, you can find out what 20 cities we launched with at stewardship.com. Time, date, location, radio station, all that kind of stuff. And you can sign up there and register for the podcast, which is how a lot of people are doing this, because we're 20 cities, means there's a lot of cities not. But there's a lot of folks literally all over the world downloading the podcast. The podcast has been vastly popular right out of the gate here. So, and Chris goes, if you don't know, if you've not heard Chris here on the air, he goes around America talking about what the Bible has to say about money, and that's what he's doing on his show, and occasionally here on my show. Welcome back, Chris.
Well, thank you for having me. I'm pumped.
Well, we're glad to have you, man. Congratulations. We broke into the top 10 on iTunes of all podcasts.
We have, yeah. Actually, there's a couple episodes that are in the top episodes ever in the history of podcasts.
Wow.
Yep. So really excited about that. 26 is our highest.
Wow. Yep. That's very scary.
Yeah.
And I noticed I was way below that, so I don't know what happened there, but it's good. Very good. Congratulations.
Oh, thank you.
It's a lot of powerful stuff going on. So, I mean, you really have a heart for not only helping people with money, but just helping people. I mean, you're a pastor by trade before you came in here and joined us. So we all call you Pastor Chris. But you've also got a heart for Christian radio in particular, don't you?
I do. I was raised on the radio. I was raised on Christian radio. I remember I was like, I don't know if you've ever heard of Zach Morris and Saved by the Bell. I don't know if you guys have heard that before, but I'm a huge fan. I looked like Zach Morris when I was a kid. I was going to be the king of Bayside High, and I was this just scrawny little kid. I can remember sitting down, and all we had when I was growing up was this. All I had was a Sony Walkman. I had this AM FM Sony Walkman. I was listening to the radio, and so my mom,
with your little 1970s headsets on.
Yeah, exactly.
Or 80s.
Yes, yeah,
80s headsets.
Yeah, way back in last century.
Yeah, back in the 1900s. Yeah.
Exactly. Yes, I just remember, my mom worked 3 jobs, and didn't have a dad in the home, and so a lot of times I was sitting there by myself, and it was just me and the AM FM radio, and I was just listening to guys like Charles Stanley and James Dobson and Larry Burkett, and those sermons that I heard way back in the day as a little kid just changed my life completely. And it blows me away that all the way across the country at the same time, you were listening to the radio, listening to the same stuff.
Yeah.
So it's kind of cool that we're right here, we're on the radio together, and we're raising this banner of stewardship over a medium like the radio. It's pretty cool.
So, I mean, Charles Stanley is there, and then fast forward, here's Chris Brown.
Yeah. It's really weird.
It's got to be a little intimidating.
It is. I just wrote this article. It's on stewardship.com right now, and it's called Coming Full Circle, My Life on the Radio. And it talks about all this. Again, it's at stewardship.com. It's an article that just kind of gives more explanation to really what this means to me, that I get to... For me, we talked a little bit joking around about the podcast and the lift, but it's more about impact. I don't really care about all that. I get to minister to people all over the country through the airwaves. It is amazing to me.
Now, we don't require that people who join us on our speaking team and teaching team, the Ramsey personalities we call them, we don't require that they have stupid in their past. But a lot of us have stupid in our past.
Yes.
I have a PhD in DUMB. I often say that. And you and your wife, Holly, kind of did the same thing.
Yeah, we did. And, a lot of times on programs, they'll call me a financial expert. And I just want to, pause and say, no, an idiot expert. I did this very, very well, being an idiot. And that's exactly what I did.
I'm certified.
Yes, exactly. That's how I feel. I graduated college, and my wife and I started jamming. We were kicking tail financially, making a lot of good decisions, and then I got cocky, super, super arrogant, and I borrowed $1 million in 1 month. And
in 1 month?
Yes, let's just say I wasn't making $1 million either.
Yeah, I'm guessing that.
Yeah, and the year was 2008. So brutal. I didn't know what was coming.
And so not only did you make a stupid decision, your timing sucks.
Yes, idiotic timing as well. Yeah. Exactly. Yes. So those houses that I bought, 8 different homes, investment homes, all sat vacant for 36 months. I made payments every month until the well went dry. Yeah. So I looked a trustee in the face and said, I can't pay. And I still remember what that feels like. It was brutal.
Yeah, bankruptcy is a real experience.
Yes, it is.
Foreclosure is a real experience. It's just not being able to keep your word.
Yep.
Breaks something in you, doesn't it?
Yeah, Ecclesiastes 5:5 says it's better to not make a vow than to make one and not repay it. And I felt that when I was in that room. It was brutal. Yeah.
That's real.
Yeah.
Now, our friend Howard Dayton, one of Larry Burkett's contemporaries, Ron Blue, those three guys kind of started the Christian world on the evangelical side, on what the Bible has to say about money.
Yeah.
And taught from an evangelical perspective all those years. And Howard says there's, 2,500 scriptures dealing with money and possessions, right?
Yeah. I've heard 2,350, I've heard 2,500, but regardless, it's over 2,000.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot. And Jesus actually talked more about money than he did love and grace.
And more than heaven and hell combined.
Yeah.
Crazy.
And so he must have been concerned about it, not because he was all worried about money, but money's just such an indicator of where our heart is, isn't it, spiritually?
Well, he knew that Chris and Dave wouldn't be the only idiots with money. He knew we'd all have trouble. And so he gave us an instruction manual, but shame on us. We don't pick it up and we don't read it. And so, man, I remember what it feels like in that courthouse, and I've given my life to help people avoid that feeling. And to win with money, it's supposed to be a tool. It's not supposed to be a burden.
And it's not supposed to be how you define yourself.
No, it's not your identity.
That would be the other end of the spectrum on from what the Bible is teaching us. But the Bible doesn't teach us we have to be poor.
No, it doesn't. Actually, the Bible talks a lot about not only being positive about wealth creation, but God being enthusiastic about it. He's called us to it. He wants those that he can trust to be wealthy so that they can channel it his way and for his glory. And so it's actually the opposite of what some people would think. That Gnosticism's been around forever, and I want to put an end to it.
Now, some people would call that prosperity gospel. Why is that not the prosperity gospel?
Yeah, and here's the prosperity gospel is, okay, God's going to bless me because I was obedient, and he's going to bless me with a Mercedes tomorrow. And that's not the way it works. No, he's going to bless you with a lot of different ways. He could bless you with a Mercedes tomorrow. He could. That doesn't mean he's going to. It could be with peace. It could be with comfort. It could be making sure that your family stays safe. It could make sure that you know that you've got direction in your life. There's a lot of different ways that God can bless you, but there is sowing and reaping, and that is in the Bible. And so saying that it's not there, well, that's just not the case.
And God invented cause and effect.
Yes, he did.
Turns out that if you want corn, you have to go out and you have to plant corn. And when you plant corn, why would you be shocked that corn grows?
Exactly.
That's sowing and reaping. You're going to get back what you put out. When you put out hard work, you're going to gain money. The diligent prosper, the Bible says. And so saying that wealth is not evil does not necessarily qualify under the heading of the prosperity gospel, does it?
Yeah, I think it all goes back to remembering who the source of wealth is. It's not us. And the purpose of wealth. If you can remember the source of wealth and the purpose of wealth, that takes out the prosperity gospel, because it's not about you. It's about bringing glory to God.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think the way you define stewardship does that.
Managing God's blessings, God's way, for God's glory. You can do a lot of great things with money, but if it's not for God's glory, then it's not stewardship.
This is Chris Brown joining us for this segment. He has a brand new Christian radio show. It's hard to believe it's almost 2 weeks old now.
Yes.
Wow, a whole 2 weeks old. But it's breaking all kinds of records. You can hear it in 20 different cities. Find the cities, the dates, the times, the locations at 30 minutes every weekday at stewardship.com, and you can sign up on iTunes for the podcast. Follow Chris on Twitter and Instagram and Facebook at Chris Brown on Air. At Chris Brown on Air. The show is called Chris Brown's True Stewardship. Chris, I'm really proud of you. You got a great start on this. It's going to be awesome.
Dave, it's been a pleasure. Thank you for trusting me.
Absolutely. Thanks for coming by. This is The Dave Ramsey Show.
This is KCAA.
California headline news. State lawmakers looking into that big oil spill in Santa Barbara, with a Senate Select Committee formed to look into the causes, response, and impacts of the ruptured pipeline.
This devastating oil spill has reminded us more than ever how important it is that we protect our communities and our coastline.
State Senator Hannah Beth Jackson will chair the Select Committee. Legislation aims to overhaul the state's voting system by allowing counties to mail all voters a ballot, expand early voting, and let people cast ballots anywhere in their county.
There's some counties that are ready and eager to do that sooner rather than later. Others that'll take maybe a couple more cycles to make the transition.
Secretary of State Alex Padilla, counties could opt in beginning in 2018. A San Joaquin County grand jury calling for tougher regulations from cities in the county when it comes to for-profit donation bins. The panel finding the bins owners use deceptive tactics to get people to donate clothes and other goods to for-profit companies. Kcaa weather, higher temperatures in much of the state today, mostly dry conditions. Jeff Scott, California News.
Have you ever thought you'd like to buy and sell houses but didn't know how or where to begin? Do you fear your job is in jeopardy, or is your business income reduction keeping you awake at night? We're in the best time in 25 years to make a fortune in real estate without using your money or credit. My name is Ron LeGrand, and I've taught 500,000 people to do just that, and personally bought hundreds of houses myself. If you'll call 800-859-5125, I'll send the first 500 callers my hot new CD, Foreclosure Fortunes, and my best-selling book to help you get started absolutely free. I'll show you how to build a six-figure income part-time with no previous experience and no license, even if you're a busy professional. Call 800-859-5125, 24 hours, and get my new book and CD free. That's 800-859-5125. Take your life back and make this your best year ever. That's 800-859-5125. Call 800-859-5125 now.
Bob Vila here with my home improvement tip of the day. Adding a half bath to your basement not only increases convenience, but it can also boost the value of your home. You'll need to know if sewer or septic lines are buried sufficiently deep in the ground so gravity can do most of the work getting rid of waste. A check with your municipality or the contractor who built your home will probably provide the answer. If it'll be gravity doing most of the work, you'll still need to install a one-way valve to keep wastewater from backing up into the basement. If the lines are above the level of the toilet, one good option is to install an up-flushing toilet. They generally have pumping mechanisms hidden inside the toilet or behind it. Up-flushing toilets are not cheap, but you probably won't have to cut through your basement slab, so that'll save you money. Some models even allow you to tie in the wastewater lines from sinks and shower stalls. In any case, don't start the job before you check local building codes. Most installations will require a permit. Get more info at bobvila.com and right here at home with me, Bob Vila.
Are you particular about the vitamins and supplements you take? Have you found that the big chain stores simply don't have what you need? Then you should know about the Vitamin Center of Agora Hills. You'll find rock-bottom prices on gourmet, top-quality vitamins and mineral supplements at the Vitamin Center. Get 30% off on all supplements and homeopathic products. All, not just selected merchandise. In addition, you'll find 30% off on all cosmetics, soaps, shampoos, toothpaste, makeup, hair coloring, and lip gloss. And all tea products are discounted 20%. Why go anywhere else? See for yourself at the Vitamin Center of Agora Hills, 5007 Canaan Road in Agora Hills. Or check out the savings and place your order online, VitaminCenterAgoraHills.com. Start saving by getting what you need from the Vitamin Center of Agora Hills. And tell a friend that the Vitamin Center ships nationwide. Call 818-707-0005. That's 818-707-0005. The Vitamin Center of Agora Hills.
If you can't seem to stay ahead of your bills, then this message is for you. How would you like to have a large portion of your credit card debt, medical bills, and department store debt forgiven? National Credit Card Relief would like to give you free information on a proven debt forgiveness program. This program has been used by thousands to legally forgive millions in unsecured debt. It's not bankruptcy. It's not consolidation. This special program actually wipes clean the portion of your debt that is forgiven from what you owe your creditors. Call for free information and get all your questions answered in the first free call. The more you owe, the more you can save. If you have at least $10,000 or more in credit card bills, this debt forgiveness program can be very effective. Call for free information and find out more now. 800-546-2909. There is no cost or obligation for the information. Don't wait. Call 800-546-2909. That's 800-546-2909. Get your debt problem solved. Call 800-546-2909 today.
Come visit the all-new Tiger Trail at the San Diego Zoo Safari Park. Get an early start and have a bountiful buffet breakfast at Tiger Trail's Sambutan Longhouse while watching these majestic creatures. A tiger keeper will be on hand to share stories about these fascinating felines and will invite one of the tigers to join the session. Then explore the Tiger Trail's 5.2 acres, watch the tigers climb rocks, swim in ponds, and nap in tall grasses. See these beautiful animals up close, all at the new Tiger Trail at the San Diego Zoo Safari Park. Go to San Diego Zoo Safari GoZooSafariPark.org.
Hi, this is Bob with Real Estate Talk with Bob and Randy. Tune in every Thursday afternoon from 3 until 4 at Kcaa Radio 1050, and we will be there to answer your real estate questions, the latest real estate news, and to talk to the leaders of the real estate industry. Our Real Estate Talk, you can find out how to stop your foreclosure, first-time homebuyer information, loan modifications, different kinds of loans you can buy with, short sale strategies, and real estate investing and more. So don't forget, tune in every Thursday afternoon at 3 for Real Estate Talk with Bob and Randy. You'll be glad you did.
America. We're glad you're here. Open phones at 888-825-5225. Blaine is with us in Boise, Idaho. Hi, Blaine. How are you?
Doing great, Dave. Thanks for taking my call.
Sure. What's up?
I've got an 80-year-old mother. My dad passed about a year ago. She lives in Maryland in a paid-for home, which is now 50 years old. The house is worth approximately $320,000. But it's got old bones, needs a little TLC. So she's kind of at a Y in the road. Doesn't know whether she wants to sell. And if she sells, should she move into a smaller place, or should she rent and take the $300,000 plus and put it in some sort of an investment? And as far as income, she's living on a Social Security check, and she's got about $100,000 between stocks, mutual funds, and cash.
Okay. How long has she lived in the home?
All 50 years.
Can she make it off of her current income?
Yes, she's doing fine right now. But she's got maintenance that needs to be done, and those sorts of things are starting to ding her income a little bit. And she, at 80 years old, she doesn't really have the patience to deal with a lot of that stuff.
Mm-hmm. Well, moving is no picnic after you've been in one place 50 years.
Right.
That might be more emotional than you guys are giving it credit for.
Right.
50 years. She's lived there since she was 30 years old.
Right.
Yeah.
The other thing is the washer and dryer are downstairs in the basement, so if she was to stay, probably a smart move would be to get that up on the first floor, so it would take some remodeling to do that. Mm-hmm. So that plus replacing the roof in the next 2 to 3 years and some work on their in-ground pool is going to probably take about $40,000.
Mm-hmm. Moving a washer and dryer and doing a roof shouldn't take anywhere near $40,000. That sounds like less than $10,000. So you're going to spend $30,000 on the in-ground pool?
No. The in-ground pool maybe be just a few thousand, but the roof on the house, he's already got an estimate because there's a carport too that's attached, so that's going to be $15,000. And then I don't know what it would cost for the remodel to move the washer and dryer upstairs, maybe into one of the other bedrooms upstairs.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, I mean, there's nothing wrong with moving if she wants to move. You're kind of heading that direction. And if you guys want to go that way, that's fine. I'm probably going to get a different bid on this roof. That sounds high to me. And I'm going to my first choice is to work through this and her to stay. If it becomes financially untenable, and $40,000 is, okay, if that's a reality, if that's not just what you guys are your first blush at things, then yeah, she probably does need to move because she only got 100 and we can't spend 40 of it on this, right? And so, she's probably, but are all of those things necessary? And, because I'm just telling you, this is going to have more of an impact on her than you guys are saying, than you're realizing.
Right.
She's lived there her whole life.
Yeah, and one other little piece of information, I did a little bit of searching the last couple of days. As far as her to move into like a little one-bedroom condo in a decent area where she's safe, it's going to be anywhere from $225,000 to about $275,000 in the area, anywhere within 10 miles or 15 miles where she lives.
Mm-hmm. I think you're probably going to do some more work on that too. I've been to Boise, Idaho. There's not that's awfully expensive for a one-bedroom condo.
No, she lives in Maryland.
Oh, I missed that. Okay. Well, that might be different then. But, yeah, I would have her move down further than that, which means she might move further out, might move to a different area.
a little bit. Because if you're going to make a move, moving down $50,000 is not going to do it. Let's go ahead and make a move. No, I wouldn't go rent, but I would move down substantially. I want to get her down below 200 in what she purchases, and let's free up a couple of hundred here if you're gonna move her. But that's my last choice. My first choice is to try to work through and kind of piece some of this together and delay some of these things. And let's not do the roof right now. Let's just see how her health goes, and let's not renovate this house like we're going to stay there 30 years, because we're not. But let's do some things to get the washer and dryer up there. That's a comfort issue. And if you can do some things to delay the roof 5 years or 2 years or something, you may have a completely different picture 2 years from now.
That's right.
And so I know I'm not up for spending $15,000 on the roof and, $10-15,000 on an in-ground pool on a house you're not going to be in for 10 years unless something very unusual happens. So anyway, that's I'm going to try to piece this together and patch it together and let her stay is what would be my first choice. But if she's going to move down, let's make it worth the while. Let's free up $200,000. So that means our budget is, down under 200 somewhere. You're going to free up $150, something like that. Then you got a little extra money to live with. And yes, I would buy a condo when I move her. I would not rent. So, good question, sir. Thank you for calling in. Open phones at 888-825-5225. You can follow me on Twitter if you'd like. At Dave Ramsey is how you do that. About 650,000 of you do. Should debt and collections be paid before, after, or at the same time as other debt? If the debt is in collections and you're paying payments on it already, put that in your debt snowball. If you have old bad debt in collections, I would let it sit until you clean up your current debt, the debt you're paying payments on. So pay off all your current debt working a debt snowball. Once you've done that, then take the debt that is in collections and list its smallest to largest. Call the smallest one, work out a deal, get it in writing, and clear that debt. Then get the next thing in writing and clear that debt. Then get the next thing in writing and clear that debt. Anything you're going to work with that's old, you need to get it in writing because you're probably being charged some collections fees that are out of line. Now, you do owe the principal, and you might end up settling just for what you actually owed originally. But you're probably going to have to settle the debt to make it reasonable, and you always want to do that in writing, and you never give electronic access to your checking account when you're dealing with an old bad debt, because those folks collecting those things are, there's a few of them are on the up and up, but you can tell a lot of them are lying by the way their mouth is moving. Open phones at 888-825-5225. Sean says on Twitter, is turnover rate important when considering a mutual fund? No, if it's in a retirement account. Yes, if it's not in a retirement account. Turnover rate refers to the stocks inside the mutual fund, the items inside the mutual fund, how often they are sold. And so if a stock goes up in value and they don't sell it inside the mutual fund, you do not pay taxes on your increased value unless you sell out of the mutual fund. And so if all the stocks in the mutual fund, 94% of them, 96% of them do not, or they go up in value and they do not sell them, which means you'd have if it's 96% of them, you'd have a 4% turnover ratio. Only 4% are selling, 96% aren't selling. Then you've got a mutual fund that's growing without you paying taxes on the growth until you sell out. And when you do sell out, you're only going to be taxed at capital gains rate, 15%, not at ordinary income rate, which is a much higher tax rate. And so turnover rate outside of a retirement account where it's exposed to annual taxes is very important. Turnover rate inside of a retirement account, inside your Roth, the growth on a mutual fund inside a Roth has zero taxes. It grows tax-free. In a traditional IRA or traditional 401k, it grows tax-deferred. You don't pay taxes on it until you take it out. Now, on a 401k or a traditional IRA, when you take it out, you'll pay taxes at ordinary income rate, but you're not paying taxes. So if they sell the stocks inside that mutual fund 3 times in a year, if you have a 300% turnover ratio, doesn't matter. You're not paying taxes on it until you take it out of your IRA or your 401k. So, the mutual funds inside of your retirement account, turnover rate is not that important a statistic. Outside, it's very important because it's going to dictate how much in taxes you get dinged for every year while you own this mutual fund. This is the Dave Ramsey Show.
It's got fabulous. Don't forget to reserve a seat in the Happy Hour Lounge with Ben and Alexander every Friday at 6 p.m. on KCAA 1050 AM.
This is KCAA.
What have I learned so far? I've learned that there is no one path right for everyone. I've learned that without my high school diploma, I can only do so much. My options were limited. I found a free personalized learning program with Learn for Life that has a flexible schedule so I could keep my job while earning my high school diploma. I found new career training opportunities that would jumpstart my future. What have I learned so far? I've learned that I can change my life.
Are you 14 to 19 years old and looking for a free high school diploma program with flexible meeting times? This program allows you to keep your job or important family responsibilities while earning your high school diploma. If you've fallen behind on credits or dropped out of school completely, get back on track with free tutoring, a caring faculty, and one-on-one attention. For more information on how to reach your graduation goal, visit learnforlife.org. That's LEARN, the number 4, LIFE.org. Or enroll today by calling 877-360-LEARN. That's 877-360-LEARN.
Ever wonder what's wrong with the world today? It seems only sex and violence make any sort of noise in our media-driven lives. A politician cheats on his wife. A young girl gets raped. A millionaire commits suicide. Ever wonder, what's the point of all of this? And where does God fit in? If you're confused, feeling lost, or empty inside, there's a website that can help. Check out fishforgod.com. At fishforgod.com, we have some good guidance and answers to some of life's most important questions. Questions like, why do bad things happen to good people? And why do I need to be saved anyway? Without answers, we're all doomed to lead confused, empty lives. The cure for your happiness is here. You've got questions. We've got answers. Check out fishforgod.com. Again, that's fishforgod.com.
Like to spend a few days in another world? Then write this down. Golden Bear Cottages, Big Bear Lake. Now, listen, this is not some corporate-owned operation. It's family-owned and operated by some real nice people. Unique? Oh, you bet. Golden Bear Cottages features 28 one-of-a-kind cabins on a 5-acre historic site. Great for families, couples, and groups. And cabins are available with 1 to 7 bedrooms. Golden Bear Cottages is just a stone's throw from Big Bear Lake and super close to 3 great ski areas. Now, I could go on all day about Golden Bear Cottages in Big Bear, but to see everything, just go to goldenbear.net. Again, goldenbear.net. Golden Bear Cottages in Big Bear. Clean, comfortable, and affordable. Check them out. goldenbear.net.
If you're like most, your trust in traditional financial advice has taken a big hit in the last few years. So, when it comes to your money, investment, and retirement planning, where do you turn now? Who do you listen to? Join us for Smart Money Talk Radio, Mondays from 3 to 4 p.m. for the refreshing, straightforward money and investment strategies of Jim and Lorraine Conaway. With over 44 years of combined experience, the Conaways are here to educate you on how to be smart with your money. Securities offered through J.P. Turner & Company, LLC. Member SIPC.
Broadcasting more local radio programs than any other station in California. We are KCAA.
Hanging out in the lobby here of the Ramsey Solutions headquarters. John and Carrie dropped by for some free coffee and some of Miss Dorothy's cookies. Yep. So good to have you guys. And I hear you got a question. How can I help?
We do. We have 2 little boys. They are 5 and 2.5, and we would like to have a 3rd child sometime soon.
Yay.
But the car that we currently have is about $10,000 upside down.
Good Lord, how did that happen?
A series of unfortunate events. We got an SUV. SUV broke. Instead of fixing it, which would have been the better decision, we rolled our old loan into a new
you rolled
car.
negative equity from the other
Yes.
one. Okay.
Yes.
So what is the current car you have? What do you owe on it?
We owe about $25,000.
Okay. And how did you determine that it's worth $15,000?
Just looking it up on Kelley Blue Book online.
On private sale or trade-in or what?
On private sale.
And we ran around to a couple dealerships a few months ago and asked how much would we be able to get for it at this point. So that's kind of the baseline.
They offered you $15,000?
The woman who sold it to us, she's a friend of a coworker of my wife's, and that's what she kind of said would be the average that we would get for it.
At a dealer?
Yes.
Correct.
Okay, which means it's probably worth $3,000 to $5,000 more than that.
Okay.
If you were to sell it, say, on your own. Private sale.
Okay.
So that's a dealer wholesale, because they're going to take that car. If they pay $15,000, they're going to sell it, make a profit on it. So they're going to sell it for $18,000 or $20,000 or something like that then.
Right.
Okay, what kind of car is it?
A Dodge Avenger.
Okay. And what's your household income?
$60,000.
Last year we had 60.
Okay. All right. And this is your only debt?
No, we are in baby step 2. We have 2 more small credit cards, and then it's on to the student loans. The car is currently second to last, right above our house.
Okay. Well, the house would not be in baby step 2. Is
Right.
it? Okay. So how much are your student loans?
About $50,000.
Okay. So second to last before the student loans.
Right.
All
Right.
Ouch. Well, the rule of thumb that we use is if your cars total up to more than half your annual income in value, you've got too much in cars, even if they're paid for, because they're going down in value. The second rule of thumb is if by selling the car, you can cause yourself to get out of debt sooner, and without selling it, you're not going to be able to be out of debt within 2 years, then you need to look at the car going away. So you need to look at this car going away.
Right.
Yeah. Because basically we're saying you got 55 plus 15, so 65 plus the credit card. So what's $70,000 worth of debt? Of that, 15 is the car.
Correct.
The value of the car.
Right.
That is, so if you sold it, you could reduce it by 15.
Yes.
You're going to have a $10,000 unsecured debt over at the bank if you do that.
Okay.
And then you got to get something to drive.
Right.
So, yeah, I am going to do that, especially with you wanting to grow your family. And, I mean, this thing is just an albatross hanging around your neck. It's just a big millstone. So I wish it moved the needle more. By getting rid of it in your overall situation. Like if it was the only debt or something like that, it'd be more exciting to get rid of it.
Right.
Because you'd be closer to the finish line as a result. But you still got this $50,000 Sally Mae laying over there, too.
Yes.
So you got some work to do.
Yep. Right.
You got a good, hard 2.5 years ahead of you.
Yes.
And that's with some beans and rice and probably some extra jobs that you're not yet working.
Already working.
Already are, yep.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. And that gets you to 60? The extra jobs do? Didn't you tell me $60,000 income?
No, that was before we picked up any extra.
Okay.
John's working 1 extra. I'm working 2
We
extra.
just started about 2 months ago. Really
Yeah.
So 60 is last year.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So you're going to be up around 80 then. Easy.
Hopefully.
Okay.
Yep.
And with 3 extra jobs going between the 2 of you, then
Right.
you'll bump around and do that. And that's going to clean it up pretty quick then.
Okay.
Especially everything but the student loans. You get rid of the credit cards, the car loan,
Yeah.
this 10 that's left over from the car, and you're driving a $5,000 car that's paid for by then.
Right.
That move, now we're leaning into Sally Mae, and you can start to really take big chunks out of her.
Okay.
And that's going to take, that's going to take 8, 9, 10 months, something like that, even with the extra jobs. And then, but if you can break through and have nothing but Sally Mae, then you just start chunk on her. You're gonna start to see the movement. Then right now it's kind of overwhelming because there's 3 or 4 things floating over the top of you right here.
Right.
So yeah, I'm going to do it because I think it moves the needle that much, and it's a pain, and all of that. Now, who's the loan with?
Chrysler.
Okay,
Chrysler,
so they're not going to help you at all.
No.
So the only thing you can do to get rid of the car is you've got to go into a small bank or credit union in your area, and you've got to borrow the difference.
Okay.
So you're not going to sell it to a dealer. We're going to take our time. There's nothing on fire here.
Right.
We're just trying to move the thing. So if it takes 4 or 5 months to sell it, it's okay. You put it on Craigslist. and you put it on there at Kelley Blue Book private sale. I'm going to guess when you go back and run that analysis, if the dealer was offering you 15, it's probably 19, 18, something like that in there.
Okay.
And so now we got to borrow $7,000, something like that, unsecured loan somehow. And but it's better to be $7,000 in debt than $25,000.
Exactly.
That's what we're saying.
Right. Okay.
And so then you just put that in your debt snowball right after those credit cards. Now we also got to get you something to drive around.
Right.
Some kind of little beater in the meantime, and you need to try to move into that $5,000 range. So if you could get a credit union, make you a little car loan, and roll some of this negative equity into that one, but it's a little tiny car loan, like $2,000 or $3,000.
Yep.
Now maybe we're talking about $10,000 if 7 is the negative equity. You follow me?
Yeah.
Plus a $3,000 car. That one goes into that snowball. Yeah, you can knock that out pretty quick.
And that's part of our thinking, too, is with a third child, we need a car that's going to seat 3 car seats, which our current car doesn't.
Yeah.
So we need somewhat of a bigger back seat or some type of van or something that would.
Neither one of your current cars do? You have one car?
We have two. We have
two.
What we all call a Dave car, which is a car that has no payments and is about 10 years old and gets me from work and back.
Which is what you need this time, too. That car doesn't hold 3 car seats?
It'd be very tight.
They're the same size, pretty much.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, you can do it if they're tight. It's just they're car seats. They don't need a lot of room. They can't move around. So, it's not like they need to stretch out.
Right.
So.
Although they could reach each other.
That's
might be a
okay.
good
You're
thing.
touching me is always part of the equation. So, yeah, so that's the kind of stuff. And here's the thing to keep in mind. Sharon and I went through this too when we moved. We sold a car before it got repoed when we were losing everything. And we were at one car for a little while. Then we were in a borrowed car for a little while. Then we were in a $1,000 car for a little while. Then we were in a $3,000 car for a little while. And it felt like it was 10 years, but it was really 3 months. Okay. And so you're probably driving these junky cars for, 18 months. And you're going to look back when the kids are in teenagers, and you're going to go, yeah, back when you were little, we drove the Blue Goose, and the Green Egg, and whatever it was. You give them names, right? And so you got to have a car you give a name to, and we had those, but we didn't drive them that long. It just felt like it was that long because it leaves an emotional scar.
Right.
But it's not like I'm saying do this for 15 years.
Right.
It's 15 months.
Yeah.
And then you save up and move up in car, and you save up and move up in car, and you get out of you get out of baby step 3, you get into some pretty decent cars then, both of you. And, $10,000, $15,000 cars will be fine in your all situation each.
Right.
And paid for. And that's where you're headed, but it's out there 48 months from now before we start hitting those kinds of goals.
Yeah.
So, cool.
Okay.
Well, thanks for stopping by, guys.
Thank you.
It's an honor to have you here.
Yep.
Thank you.
Fun, good discussion, sharp young couple. See, that's the kind of stuff everybody faces, but you just have to stop and think about it completely different. Most people think you can borrow your way out of these messes, and they set about the business of trying. And there's something that happens when you draw a line in the sand, you drive a stake in the ground, and you say, that's it, we don't borrow money anymore. Now how are we going to do this? Because you can't get out of debt while you keep borrowing money. Did you know that? You pay off a debt over here with your left hand, and you use your credit card with your right hand. You can't get out of debt, dummy. I mean, you're just a dog chasing its tail then. So you can't borrow your way out of debt. That's like trying to dig your way out of a hole. You can't dig out of a hole. You end up in China. What's wrong with you? So think about this. People say dig your way out. Well, you don't really dig your way out. That's not what you're doing. You claw your way out maybe, but that's just climbing, right? You're climbing up out of the hole. And so you have to break the cycle. The philosophy that you were using to handle money that brought you here is going to keep you here unless you change that philosophy. You can't borrow your way out of debt. That's what they're talking about there. That's a very important discussion because it reflects a heart change more than it does some kind of mathematical magic. This is the Dave Ramsey Show.
You're on board KCAA's Inland Talk Express. KCAA, Loma Linda, 1050 AM, the station that leaves no listener behind.